Perfect. Alrighty. Well, just to start the meeting with, like we do have Laura already did housekeeping, so that's great. We do need a note taker. So if anyone is okay with taking notes as we run these, it would be lovely. I'll send the file like that notes on the chat just in case. Here we go. Um, but yeah, so I know the first item we have is the accessibility statement draft that Kelly has been working on. Um, do-
We did
so
get some feedback.
we
Wayne
did.
provided some feedback on it.
Lovely. So I see here, yeah. The right elements, I like to see it slightly shorter. Okay. The sentences combining the last two into a cohesive thought. Uh, cool. So we just have to tighten up the language. So just to for those who are, I guess, at some point watching this recording, the draft so far is like our commitment to accessibility. MCLA is committed to ensuring that we have digital equity for our community. We are actively working to make our products and services inclusive for all users, giving our community the ability to have an inclusive experience that allow all to maintain their dignity and independence. So, um, where are we posting these? So at the moment, we have it posted on Bolt, our design system. Um, in the future, I do think we hope to have a different kind of resource page, maybe. I'm not sure what's the plans
Um,
like long term.
it's it's a question to the group. We do not have it posted anywhere. It's still in draft
Oh,
format. Kelly's seeking feedback for it, but yeah, it's open to the group to offer thoughts as to where best to position this in terms of Thunderbird.
Absolutely. And any feedback is beyond welcome. This, as I said when I presented it last month, this is the first time I've done anything like this, so I don't presume to be an expert on it in any way.
well, I'm not one for writing, so I think it's great. Now for it's direct to the point, and like it does say that we want to preserve the independence for everyone to be able to do what they have to do. Everyone deserves to check email. Everyone deserves to have access to the services that we provide.
It needs a little language cleanup. There's repeated words, dignity and inclusive. So I
Mm.
think we need to do a little bit more yeah, language tightening up words. And then also maybe consider give a quick lens to how it's translated and making sure that it
Mm.
translates well.
Fair. Would we using like our community services like the ones that like different languages come and help out or what how would we be translating for most
Uh, don't
languages?
don't know yet. That would depend probably on where we post, but
Mm,
obviously for those folks that might be watching this after, we would love to hear your thoughts on, yeah, like especially if we can make this statement stronger, considering translation and stuff, that would be really, really helpful for us. Yeah, and helpful to hear in the Matrix chat or in a comment with the video or
mm.
get in touch with us somehow. Yep.
For where are we posting this? Um, I know that like first steps as like we currently have some resources on our design system, like on Zero Height. It could be a place, but I also don't know that that is very user facing at the moment. Like we're still building um all of that area up. How would we feel if we end up doing maybe a blog post or something more, something that would reach our community base in hopes for a call out to those who want to leave feedback, want to participate, have thoughts or opinions and stuff like that. It would open the floodgates. So I don't know if at this point is the moment to do it, but at some point for sure.
Um, for location wise, sorry, I was just
Mhm.
rereading it again. We could definitely find a place on our website for it. I don't know where last time we had I think a statement from council or just like a blurb about the council on the about page. Um, right, the mission statement on the about page.
Mhm.
But I know there were some changes with regards to giving council more of a like a
Voice.
page.
Okay.
Okay, they do have that. Okay, cool. So I'm sure we can find somewhere to put the accessibility statement on like the Who We Are page, or possibly another page which is solely dedicated for the accessibility stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. Yeah, we can talk to the uh, website team the next
Yeah.
meeting maybe on that one. That's great. Mel or Alexander, because you're here, like, is there any spot that would give better visibility to developers?
Uh, so we should probably make sure it ends up somewhere that's going to get seen by add-on developers. That's one thing I can
Mm.
think of specifically related to desktop is we have a large add-on developer community. Some are more concerned with accessibility than others. We have a lot of documentation specific to add-on development, and somewhere in there we should link that, state that it should be worked in somewhere so that the add-on developers know that that is our guiding principle as far as things, and so that they will at least hopefully attempt to follow that.
Mhm.
Um, do you find with community patch submissions that accessibility is being covered? Or is that like a bigger
Um,
question to tackle later?
so our patch submissions are we don't get a lot, they're very random. We do get some related to accessibility stuff. Rarely do we get any that are front end and not trivial. So
Mm.
usually it's not something, I mean, it's something that they should be aware of, and we should again have it linked in our documentation on building and working on Thunderbird. But that's gonna cut that, and that would cover both internal and external, because like when we just like an external contributor, when we onboard someone, that's where they get pointed to start. So those two places would probably be good. Um,
Who manages the that site, like the one is like get started to develop with Thunderbird and stuff? Is that
that is, oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
no, no. I was just gonna
Oh,
it's all good.
I think that's Heather, right?
Perfect.
I
I wasn't
think.
sure if it was Mozilla or if we had like actual control of
No,
that. That's perfect.
no. We control that. I believe it
Hmm.
may have changed, but I'm pretty sure it used to be her at least.
I trust you.
And on
So,
the services end, we don't really have a good onboarding method, mainly because we have not released to public yet. But we do get a few contributors, none to accessibility from what I remember. I could be wrong, and apologies if I am. But we've mostly been trying to weave in uh, and make things as accessible as possible. We're working hopefully soon on increasing our documentation to make it easier to onboard folks, both internal and external. So
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
Since you're in GitHub, would it make sense just to add it to the READMEs somewhere on the
yeah, it
repos
would,
that
but
That's
make sense?
we
yeah,
don't
that's a
really
great.
have like a central place though, because we have a bunch of
Yeah.
different repos. But it probably would be good to have some boilerplate in each of the other one each of the repos themselves. So
That'd be
Yeah,
amazing. So it's just like
even if
a
we end up
initial thought. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if you end up with a centralized place, it would still be good because a lot of people that are community contributors, the very first place that they're going to look is the GitHub README. And then whatever is linked from there is where they'll go next, you know? Um,
Perfect.
I was trying to find the tab again. I will add that to my to-do list. Once we formalize the draft, at least.
Let's say, yeah,
Yeah.
once we're ready and final, we will pass it along.
Exciting.
Great.
Alrighty. With that, we're gonna think go to the next topic, which is an update on the guidelines. So I have been working with Laurel on seeing how most other design systems or organizations display and do an overview of like this is where we host all of information about accessibility and where to point them. Like some of them are immediate guides and some of them are like more in depth. And most of them end up linking you back to like WCAG or like sometimes MDN and stuff like that, just because like you don't want to repeat if there's already a source of truth. But with that, the outline for a very overview where like someone would land when they are finding out they can help out or like trying to figure out what do we do with accessibility. They may not be developers, they may not be designers. So with that train of thought, it's kind of like in that sense, we would have our accessibility statement there just to let everyone know what we stand for and what we aim for. Uh, Showcase then a list of accessibility considerations we're keeping, that being vision, hearing, speech and communication, motor mobility, dexterity, cognitive and learning, neurological, vestibular and motion sensitivity, sensory and tactile, temporary and situational constraints. So with those with that section, after that we would have the in-depth guides. So that being like if you wanna start developing or contributing for Thunderbird, here is a guide on like what to do for desktop, what to do for mobile, that being iOS or Android, or what to do for web specifically, and providing a checklist even to things to remember as they are, going to submit a request, a review request, that being from design or front-end development or back-end development, and a separate guide for design itself, just because we also have to ensure that they are aware of annotations if they're providing something for a developer they don't know to produce, or just ensuring that the design they provide has consistent it follows the guidelines as well, like it has good contrast, it has good elements, so like screen readers can like easily go through all of that, as well as a separate page then uh, on the overview that goes to resources. So resources already lives in Zero Height, but we can obviously like align a little bit better with like all of these. And in that case, resources would basically encompass tools, which are more of a things you can use as you're trying to triple check what you're working on, as well as learning opportunities or just a direction, like directing them to the proper guidelines. So again, to the source of truth. Any feedbacks, suggestions, concerns?
Everyone's thinking.
I mean that all makes sense to me, and the specific, like from a developer designer standpoint, makes sense. We just want to make sure we align those, which I know we talked about last time. It's like we have a checklist on the front end for desktop
Mhm.
now. That's all the things that we'd be looking for in a patch, and most of that is essentially going to cross over with the design ones, except from a different perspective. Um, but it's going to be covering most of the same things, I would assume, because it's still going to be looking for contrast, making sure things are focusable, et cetera, making sure states are visible. A lot of that are going to be in both, but just from a different perspective, which is good because we have contributors in theory coming in from very different perspectives depending on what they're trying to do and contribute to. So it makes it a lot easier to digest when it's coming from the same perspective that you are working on.
Absolutely. And that was the thought process behind it. It's just like kind of keeping the language to something that I understand. As we are starting to do more and more accessibility annotation on design, I'm glad to have certain background on development because I'm like, oh, okay, I know like elements versus roles and whatnot, and then like it's a bit of also sharing that knowledge with the rest of the team, just because there are moments in which like you do end up going a little bit in depth into development parts. So it's separating those two. So whoever wants to join in and be able to contribute can feel at ease and understand what they need to do to contribute, to not be a blocker basically for them. Bad. Yeah. Yeah, through the guidelines, like or like the checklist, I'm hoping, and this is like obviously me going a little bit more in depth that I needed to, but as I was like revising different sites, filtering tools for sure, it's something that is interesting me a lot because there is a part that I would love to have for QA in to a degree, and you can also help like things that may not touch mobile should not be on the list if you're specifically developing for desktop and just make it as accessible to everyone, also like to ease the cognitive burden of having a very, very long list when not everything applies to you. So like limiting it so you feel confident that you're checking what you need to check. But
Yeah,
many,
and
many, yes.
that makes a lot of sense. We've talked about that in the past too, because I know with
Mhm.
the checklists, I still owe a more generic web-based version of the checklist I made. Um, because that is because like ours is very tailored to desktop, which ignores a lot of web concerns. So there's a lot of things deleted from it essentially that would typically be there. Um, I'm gonna still update that. I just been super busy for the website of things to kind of add the back and take out some of the things that are more desktop specific. But that is an important distinction, especially for a contributor, because they shouldn't be trying to look down a checklist of things that only half of them apply to what they're doing or whatever, that just causes more confusion than help.
Absolutely. And this is also something that I haven't fully, because we were mostly working on the overview and not really going in depth. I have explored it, have not. I've seen different ways to section things. So, for example, the way that I was discussing it, it was like a guide into like, hey, you want to do things for desktop or do you want to focus on mobile or on web? However, I've also seen different systems that focus on like, this is what you need to check in for like this kind of accessibility consideration. So anything to do with vision, and this is all you need to do. This is to consider keyboard navigation only or screen reader only and stuff like that. So that is a different way to approach it. I don't know which is the best way. In my head, it makes more sense to do it by area of where our user or like the person who's gonna come in and try to help out can feel more at ease and comfortable. However, I totally see the benefit of like saying, hey, anyone who's gonna deal with hearing or vision and like separating it by accessibility type. Um, Thoughts on that are also welcome. Like everything is still very
So
much an exploration point.
that's not necessarily mutually exclusive because you can have someone be funneled into, okay, I'm working on desktop versus mobile, and then still have what they get there filtered more by what sort of thing they're doing and what the concerns are. So, like, in the checklist that we have, there's sections for, things around image concerns, things around interactive concerns. It's still broken down by like what sort of thing you're doing or looking at, but it's still desktop specific. So they're not
Um,
really mutually exclusive
yes.
concepts.
That is definitely for the checklist, and that makes a lot of sense. But more when you like get into like the in-depth guide, like, oh, you want to develop. Now we send you into like this is the information you need to know for desktop itself, like where do we send you to? And this is information where to send you if you want to develop for iOS or like because we have so many tools that are specific to certain devices. But at the same time, I have not just yet gotten too in depth in much more than web or desktop. So because of that, I'm still feeling a little bit unsure on how to approach things because I know that I am lacking knowledge on mobile side other than web mobile. But yeah, definitely
So
something we can explore, and I can bring it forward next time we have something.
yeah. In general, mobile is much different. It works very different, and I think so. The guidelines are not going to cross over effectively in
Okay.
most situations because you're dealing with like iOS is very accessibility forward in
Mm,
development, and they have a lot of built-in paradigms that just have no translation to how it works on the web.
perfect. Okay. So it is good to separate them by like area of development, at least for now. Um,
Yeah, when you're
cool.
talking about native mobile development, I think
Yeah.
it's just there's almost no crossover between them.
Yeah.
They're very separate things. Well,
Yeah.
where you're still aiming for the same end goal of it being accessible and being able to, the way that you get there is so different.
Fair enough. And that's definitely going to be something fun to discover for annotation for design because uh, that is something that I have not done yet. Like I've only had experience of kind of like a screen reader on mobile a couple times when I was like trying to set it for my grandma, who immediately turned it off because she didn't like it. But she cannot see, so whatever. So as I was like trying to like I realized that we don't have a keyboard to tap through things, so it was just like you just tap anywhere and it will like move you along. But that is something that I have not fully known or done yet on accessibility for iOS or Android. Thankfully, Material 3 and iOS stuff are very, very accessibility forward, so they do tend to have most things covered, but it would be nice to ensure that we are covering all the bases. But yes, I saw Casey send the message. Happy to help develop it with macOS. A speech experience can help provide perspective for several of the cognitive communication disabilities. Lovely. And yeah, in the end, this is something that like I've realized through as like had to work on this kind of guideline or like tool reviews. Documentation is not very accessible sometimes to me specifically. It feels like with ADHD and like cognitive burden, and like my brain will read certain parts and not all of it. And if it's a very long text, I will immediately feel defeated half the time. So I do want to ensure that this is something that is easy bites to take, not as small as Material 3. Material 3, I feel like I have to click a lot to get places, but that is something that I'm also keeping in mind as we're working through our content guidelines. Um, but yeah, thank you for everyone. So to move forward to the next topic, we do have a community Q&A. So the one thing we have here is community places for build accessibility support. That doesn't have a name, so I think it's just more of a everyone can comment here. Mm,
Yeah, it's a question.
mm, Places to build accessibility support.
Is that build as in compile or build as in
Build is
Create.
in support and community. Yeah,
okay?
Yes.
yeah. No,
Connections.
not the
Networking to a
technical
degree.
side. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, one place that we can try to see could be LinkedIn. I personally don't use it lots, but I know there's a lot of people who, like use it more as social media nowadays. So like having tags or like following certain stories to a degree can help us out to get to the right community. Um, that
Do you,
is outside of our Thunderbird bubble.
so are you saying like outreach to
Yeah.
other places specifically and not like us posting a blog or something or posting
Well,
something about it on our own LinkedIn
we
page?
No, I would say posting a blog on our own LinkedIn, just like because I know most of the time when we post, or like I assume actually, I don't say I know. I assume we do Mastodon and then we do our blog and we send like our mail list and we have a topic box, but that still feels very Thunderbird bubble. And while that is great because we do want to get our users engaged, we do want to get support and accessibility knowledge for whoever can help us out. Um, there is a lot of things we don't know yet, and we are so thankful for Mozilla to help us out in cases like this. Like we are able to shout out to Anna, shout out to Dasha, like just they are always able to give us a guide or like point us in the right direction. And I think building community with people who are interested on the topic and not necessarily our own service or tool can get them started in the journey with us. Um, I see Casey sent a message saying LinkedIn has a huge accessibility community that regularly posts. I've met a lot of on-screen readers, users, and keyboard navigators through it and find their perspective authentic and refreshing. That's great. I'm happy for that. I get that's I'm glad that we can have somewhere solid. Yeah, well, Mastodon can also be a place we can post about it. Like I feel due to it being more social media based than like theoretically workplace to a degree. Uh, we can get a little bit less, but definitely people who are very interested on the topics.
I will say that a lot of the people I know that are prominent in the accessibility community, I do see post on LinkedIn quite often. Specifically, uh, when like some of the more influential people are pretty active there, more so than I see them on like Twitter or other sort of places. And that's just people I know personally, but that does align very much with what Casey's saying. I see them very much on LinkedIn.
Good. It's all coming together. What about anywhere else? Like any other places you guys can think of, maybe? If I can't. Um,
Well, I mean, if you want to target specifically the accessibility community, there's like the WebAIM mailing list, which
hmm.
is probably the single largest accessibility related mailing list out there, and specifically related to like development and support. Uh, so, and that's very active mailing list. Like several times a day, I get emails from them at least.
Perfect. That's good to know. Okay, cool. Lovely. Yeah, because that that would be good. Like we have them in that way, people who are focused on accessibility itself. It would be lovely to at some point find a place to get people who are design accessibility oriented too, which hopefully is LinkedIn. But knowing that WebAIM has the development support accessibility tools, that is also that's good knowledge. Thank you. Yeah. Other than that, that if we don't have more thoughts on the topic, then we're coming to the end. So our next meeting would be May 5th, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon EST, and 4 p.m. UTC. So is there anyone who could or who would like to facilitate the next meeting?
I'm unfortunately going to be off that week, so just heads up, I cannot even facilitate that meeting.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be available that day either. There's a strong possibility I will not be available.
Can I throw it to the Thunderbird team? Would it be beneficial if we just postponed this committee meeting until after Thunder Week?
That
For
would
me, it
probably be
would be.
best.
yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
am
I'm getting
very
strong nods
busy
from
until,
everyone. Okay,
yeah,
we
I'm
will
only,
we'll reschedule until it'll be the third week in May we'll aim for, or perhaps the end of May. I will figure that one out shortly. But is there a volunteer out there for that meeting, not knowing the specific date and time? I can follow up closer to the time in the Thunderbird accessibility channel on Matrix.
most likely I could. but not knowing more
Sure.
specifics.
Okay, we will pencil you in and then recalibrate. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
I'm just
And with
gonna
that being said, any
I'm just
topics
gonna
for next agenda? Yay, me. I
I'll have some updates on automated testing because that's been live and we've been fixing things, and there's actually been a bunch of updates and things related to that. So I can go over that next time.
If folks can provide feedback and or share far and wide to get feedback from the community on our statement, our accessibility statement, I can do an edit of it to give to everybody for the next meeting.
Kelly, the only place that we've posted that like in a public way is on our Thunderbird Accessibility Matrix channel.
Mhm.
Is there any other forum places that you would want to share that out to reach
Do
broader
we
engagement?
have a mailing kind of like TB planning or something like that for
Yeah,
accessibility?
we
I
do
would
not.
say,
Yeah, we do not, but we do have a mailing list, and we do have like Thunder. We have Topic Box. Like there's that
yeah, that's the word I
community.
was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. We could do that, and we could just do it in the UX channel because it's very related. That's one thing. The other thing too is if we wanted to do a little bit of cross-linking with the communities in Mozilla and Slack.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know if I'm fully in all of the communities in Slack.
Okay.
So if you see something, say something.
I will. Yes.
Um, and yeah, if we can get folks to comment on it and things, then I will update it to incorporate those comments to the best of my ability and we can review it again.
Perfect. Now,
Amazing.
I don't know if for next topic, we want to bring deep dive after like the overview we just did. I know that I've done more explorations, but we can do a second pass and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk about the next steps from the outline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely come back with that for sure. Lovely. Great. We have a plan for the end of May. So we'll have 5 or 6 weeks until we see everybody again. Oh, have a good spring. I don't know. It's the snow line crept down the mountains today, so I'm saying that with like a questioning in my mind because it feels like winter. But
And we were
yeah.
just saying that there was no snow over here. Casey and I sad about it.
There's
I'm going to the Caribbean at the end of the week, so I
oh,
Ooh,
will not be
okay.
Kanika.
seeing any snow.
Oh, you are lucky. You are lucky. Enjoy. I hope it's all
Yes,
really
have
good
a little
there.
fun.
I will
Alrighty,
stop the
everyone.
recording here.